popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins,
That's me.
and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn.
Woo!
You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it.
Spoil it in your face.
That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo.
What's up, little business Sun-Dried Tomatoes? It's your boy Eddie Collins, and I'm here with a bonus episode where I'm going to be doing some quick movie reviews, talk about some new exciting movie news, or it's a little bit. It's exciting, but there's been quite some cuckoo banana stuff happening. And then also go talk about some new movie trailers and give some reactions to that. And then we're going to close out with an interview with my friend Julie Seabaugh about her Mark Maron documentary that's about to come out in limited theaters in LA and New York. But to kick us off, I'm going to talk about One Battle After Another, which is Paul Thomas Anderson, There Will Be Blood, Inherent Vice, Licorice Pizza, of course, Boogie Nights, Magnolia. He has a new film out with Leonardo DiCaprio, Tiana Taylor, Sean Penn, Regina Hall, Benicio del Toro, and the incredible Chase Infinity, who was the daughter of the Jake Gyllenhaal Presumed Innocence Apple TV show. And this is like her first feature film, and it's incredible. It's Paul Thomas Anderson adapted this from, I guess, a Thomas Flitchen, or however you pronounce his name, book called Violent, I believe, or something like that. And it's about extremists, political extremists who fight against the man and power and stuff like that. And I guess the book takes place in the 60s, but this is more, contemporary. It's about revolutionaries who go against like ICE detentions and just bullshit bureaucracy and, government terror and all that stuff. And man, if you told me this film was made 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, the perfect timing. I don't know how Paul Thomas Anderson and their team and his team lined this up, but it's incredibly timely. I'm very curious to see how people respond to it, especially on the conservative leaning side, just because they're the extremists. They obviously go against conservative views and objectives and things like that, and corporate overlords, all this stuff. And so it's incredibly timely. It's incredibly political. Great performances. I was actually really surprised to see Leonardo DiCaprio as part of more of an ensemble versus just a lead. It's not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where he was a co-lead with Brad Pitt. No, he's a lead actor, but the first act really belongs to Tiana Taylor. The middle act is Leo, and then the third act is Sean Penn, whose character is cuckoo bananas. I don't want to give spoilers, but when you watch the trailer and stuff like that, you're kind of like, I wonder where this is going. I wonder why they would go after this guy and his daughter so long after it seems like this revolution or whatever has died down. And the reason they give and the sinister actions required are it's incredibly timely in regards to political themes, racial dynamics in this country. I was floored by it. And that's not even talking about the creativity. The cinematography is top notch. I want to shout out the cinematographer Michael Bauman. Definitely get an Oscar nomination. Music is by Johnny Greenwood. Definitely get an Oscar nomination. Paul Thomas Anderson will likely get nominations for director, for writing. As of right now, this is my second favorite film of the year so far, right after Sinners. Warner Brothers has just been on a goddamn tear lately. But the thing with One Battle After Another is that there are a lot of strong Black female characters throughout this film, incredibly portrayed by Tiana Taylor, who's been on a hell of a tear acting-wise lately. Please see, what is it, 1 in 1,000 Words or something like that. It's on Amazon Prime, I believe. She was fucking phenomenal in that. She floored me with her performance in that. Regina Hall plays an incredible character named Deandra. Not going to give you spoilers about her character, but she's prominent throughout the whole movie. And then, of course, Chase Infinity, who has a very complex role as Willa, who's the daughter of Leonardo DiCaprio and Tiana Taylor. The third act is really her and Sean Penn. That wasn't fair to cut her out the third act. But it's an ensemble piece. And so there's some really, really strong performances. I think likely Sean Penn's definitely get nominated. I think his villainous role is so out there and memorable that it would probably be hard for, during the award season for you to forget him. But Chase Infinity, at the very least, getting some breakout star nominations. It was a great, great performance. I had a lot of fun with Benicio del Toro. I loved him as Sergio Carlos. He's this he has like a karate gym in this like sanctuary city that Leonardo DiCaprio and his daughter have been hiding out for several years. And I just love this vibe. And I love that we're thrown into these worlds. Like it's there's halfway through this movie where I was reminded, like, oh, original movies are awesome. You know what I mean? Like, and again, like I know this is adapted from Violent, but at the same time, I haven't seen anything exhilarating and as tense as this movie in a long, long time. There's a period like where I was like, oh my God, I love movies like this. This is why I come to the movies. And it's shot, like I said, shot beautifully. There's an incredible scene on a rooftop chase. That's a rooftop chase, Leonardo DiCaprio and a bunch of kids on skateboards and stuff. And there's fireworks and flares and all kinds of things going on because the city's in duress and like protesters and like the National Guard are called in for nefarious reasons. It's crazy. And it's so damn timely. It's almost disturbing and I loved it. There's like a scene where a school dance is interrupted by these National Guard Sean Penn soldiers, and it just man, like I was just like, oh, probably writing this was so much fun. And probably not want to say cathartic, but maybe incredibly fulfilling on an emotional level for Paul Thomas Anderson. Because, from my understanding and like reading more about the reasons why he made this movie, it's about like this white man raising a black daughter, and I always forget that he's married to Maya Rudolph, and so they have several children together. I'm sure he's learned a lot, especially about civil rights and the revolution, stuff like that. Because they often make fun of Leonardo DiCaprio's character, especially in the first act, about like calling him white boy and him liking white black girls and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess it's like an incredibly personal film for him, even though it's like his biggest budget. It's this most action oriented film in his whole filmography. And I've been following it since Boogie Nights. So kudos to him for the evolution. Kudos to him on getting great performances out of an incredible ensemble cast. Now, I have had conversations with my fellow critics of color about One Battle After Another. And for the most part, it's been very positive. But there are some folks that had some issues with the way that Black women were portrayed in this film. Me personally, I can see why someone would interpret negative intentions behind the way that these Black women are portrayed and these Black women are written. However, for me, I would think, especially Paul Thomas Anderson, it's like his movie's going to claim, but it's not like you're going to get on the next big blockbuster. Like, I'm not saying that's the intent of actors in Hollywood. I mean, usually it is, but for Teyana Taylor, Regina Hall, and particularly, I'm not going to talk about Chase Affinity because this is her first film debut, so maybe she wasn't in the place where she like, I don't want to do this film. But I would imagine, especially someone like Regina Hall, who's been in the industry so long, and she wasn't messing with the way that people were being portrayed, especially Black women being portrayed in this movie. Also, Wood Harris is in this movie. I imagine that they would say, hey, I'm not doing this, or at least give feedback to Paul Thomas Anderson and get comfortable enough where they shoot this movie. Now, some of these critics have been like, well, people need a job, people need money. And I'm like, yes, but it's certainly this political climate and stuff, you don't want to do a misstep. We saw how long it took Zoe Saldana to recover for that Nina Simone movie. There's things for the culture that if they do greatly offend, it's going to get out very, very quickly. For the most part, from what I've seen, there's a lot of positive responses to this film, especially having a lot of women of color who have prominent roles in this film. Now, Regina Hall, like some people could be like, oh, she's just there to be there. I thought her character in the moments that she had were very, very effective. Because again, this is a different type of movie, and I went in with no expectations. I was just like, I love the cast. Paul Thomas Anderson. The past few films haven't quite hit for me, but he still also gave us There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights. So I give it a chance, right? Also, Punch Drunk Love, which introduced everybody to the dramatic Adam Sandler, right? So I'm like, I'm going to give this movie a shot. And I was very, very surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. Do I think it goes on a little bit too long? A little bit. It's almost 3 hours. There's like an epilogue kind of tag thing to it. But the performances were memorable enough. And it gave me like 90s, like Michael Mann vibes, mixed in with like a little bit of Tarantino and Coen brothers. Like it was like I was captivated the whole goddamn time. And that's very impressive for an almost 3 hour movie. I just love the fact that a lot of people, like when they were taking pictures of the set, stuff like that, they were like, oh, it's a legal drama about an interracial couple. And like people were so off about what this movie was. So I'm glad I wasn't spoiled. Nothing in the trailer really gave anything big away. You do predict like kind of the twist, like less than halfway through, I would say, of what's going to happen, like with certain characters and their story arcs and their connections with each other. But Man, I really enjoy One Bad After Another. So as you know, in Medium Popcorn, we do ratings on scales of popcorn: small, medium, large, XO for the exception. If a movie does not deserve fresh butter or popcorn, we put into the stale pile, where we pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on it. So for One Bad After Another, I am giving it a large popcorn. Greatly enjoyed it. Phenomenal behind the scenes work. Paul Thomas Anderson was clearly in his bag. And to know like there's a personal emotional connection to the storyline, especially with Leonardo DiCaprio and his daughter, character played by Chase Infinity. Um, you know, some people might have issues with it and how certain people are betrayed. I think if this is his love letter to his kids and to his wife's family and that legacy, I don't know what he's like aligned politically, but maybe he's celebrating some of that, and those revolutionaries. But I just think this is a great body of work. I think it's a great creative output that he has here. This is a phenomenal film, and yeah, kudos to Paul Thomas Anderson for jumping right into the Oscar conversation. There's no doubt that this is going to be a highly nominated film come award season. Now, having said that, I'm bouncing to another potentially award season player called After the Hunt, which is a psychological thriller that's directed by Luca Guadagnino. I can never pronounce his name correctly, and written by Nora Garrett. Now, Luca has a crazy output. This dude is like Ridley Scott. He's had so many movies the past few years, including Queer, Challengers, Bones and All, Suspiria, Call Me by Your Name. But like Challengers and Queer came out last year. He had two back-to-back pretty big high profile films, but I think not that they canceled each other out, but like none of them really got Oscar nominations. And so, but like I greatly enjoyed Challengers. Queer, I was very confused by. After the Hunt is written by Nora Garrett and stars Julia Roberts, Aoife Debris, Andrew Garfield, Michael Stuhlbarg, who I love from Call Me by Your Name, as well as Boardwalk Empire. I thought he was phenomenal in Boardwalk Empire. And Chloe Sevigny. I probably butchered all these names, but y'all know, if you've been listening to Media Popcorn long enough, you know that I'm terrible with names. But listen, this movie is coming on Amazon Prime, I believe, because it had Amazon MGM Studios connected, as a producer and stuff. And here's the log line. A college professor is forced to grapple with her own secretive past after one of her colleagues is faced with a serious accusation. So basically, this is like a Me Too movie, and it does take place before 2020. And once I saw that, I was like, okay, oh boy. And it's like about I think they're at Harvard. It's about these like very pompous Harvard teaching professors, and Aoife Debris is like a TA for Julia Roberts, and there's this weird dynamic with them. And Andrew Garfield's this like smarmy, charismatic professor who's going for tenure against Julia Roberts, and they have this complicated relationship. And Michael Stuhlbarg is, her husband, who's just very artistic, and it's just very cryptic, but also hilarious at the same time. They have Chloe Sevigny, who keeps wearing these suits that make it look like she tried on her father's clothing. It's a very weird movie that didn't need to be as weird as it is. And there's like some very interesting choices with like cinematography, editing. It goes on way too long. It's over 2 hours. It's 2 hours, I think, in 19 minutes. 19 minutes, way too long. It could have been even tighter than 2 hours, if you ask me. Man, I was very confused by this movie. Andrew Garfield, usually like him. In this movie, he gave me like weird energy. He kind of reminded me of a comedy friend of mine that John not gonna know. But I was like, oh, he's giving me this person's energy. And my wife, like, when I told her, my wife, she's like, oh yeah, he does. He does. Still solid, gives a solid performance in everything he does, even if the movie doesn't deserve it. Julia Roberts was kind of crazy in this. I mean, it's intentional. This is supposed to be like her Tar performance, but she came off insane. And it wasn't like a relatable, fun insane, or like a damn, she's cooking insane. It's like, oh, Luca is becoming like the Italian Tyler Perry to me. We're like, once in a while, he gives you a movie where you're like, damn, like that was good. Like Diary of a Black Woman, like with Tyler Perry, I was like, whenever it first came out, like it was his first big feature. I was like, damn, That's not bad. That's pretty fucking good. That's how I felt with Challengers. Because before that, I wasn't really into Lucas. Like Call Me by Your Name was cool, but I thought that went on way too long. Thought it like dragged. Like I was like, okay, it's just about him falling in love with this dude and like coming of age. Okay, that's a quick 90 minutes, man. Without the weird like flare, blur lens and stuff like that. So everything Luca does kind of feels very pretentious, except for Challengers. Challengers was cool because it had this really manic, crazy energy, and also that fucking what is it, Jack O'Connell? Who is that? Who's that white boy? That British white man? It's not Jack O'Connell. Okay, is it John O'Connell? I could just look up the new Knives Out movie. Let's look at the new Knives Out movie because I know he's in that. Knives Out, Dead Man, Wake Up Dead Man. Okay, let's see. Who is this gentleman? Who are you? I should know his name because it's going to be a household name. Probably after this movie, from what I've heard. Josh O'Connor. Yes. And he was also, I think, Prince Charles on The Crown, I heard. I haven't watched The Crown just because I don't care to watch it. But Josh O'Connell, Connor, man, and then Challengers, I was like, that's a good looking dude. Can you tell I don't want to talk about After the Hunt? Because I'm just talking about Josh O'Connor and how hot he is. And like he did a smile on Challengers. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, the lady's going to love him. But After the Hunt, yeah, Julia Roberts, I wasn't the biggest fan of her performance in this. Uh, it felt like the movie and the script didn't really know what it wanted to say about the Me Too movement, or if it's just like kind of trying to play this gray area. But at the same time, I was just kind of like, when the credits rolled, people were just like, "What?" Like, and there was an older a white lady in the screening in front of me. This movie, and they did this epilogue thing, and she groaned so loud. She's like, "Oh." So I don't know if this movie is going to have many fans. I personally, I liked Michael Stolberg's performance, even though I thought it was incredibly pretentious. He's like a psychiatrist who he speaks in like riddles and shit like that. But there's also like a lot of microaggressions that he gives, especially towards Aoya Debris' character. But I liked how he did it because as an audience member, you're like, I see all the games he's playing, and also signal he's giving Julia Roberts, who just loves being adored and stuff like that. But yeah, this gets me to the toughest part about this quick review about After the Hunt. Love Aola Debris in The Bear. I think she's great. I loved her in Bottoms. I thought she was hilarious, very charming. She's very charming in a lot of things. I did not like her performance in this movie. I thought I mean the purpose of this movie is to hate everybody, I think. Um but if they wanted to do what I think they wanted to do with her character, which is talk about how it felt like this is Nora Garrett's intention. It felt like they were trying to use Aola Debris' character Maggie, who's this rich black girl who got into the school. They keep talking about her parents bought a like library, something like that for the campus. Who Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts know. This isn't quite a spoiler, but know that she's actively plagiarizing her dissertation. Um, and Andrew Garfield mentions that she's plagiarized other things. And they're basically trying to imply because she's a black woman, and given all the struggles that black women have in society, they don't want to say anything because they're so woke and they're allies, right? They don't say these words verbatim, but those are like that's what I read from the situation and the dialogue and like the body language that the actors are portraying during these scenes, like especially with the microaggressions, things like that. But it felt like no one actually wanted to tackle it, and they just had this one scene with Michael Stolberg and like Julia Roberts Ale when they're having dinner, and then like he's kind of hinting at like you're full of shit, but like no one wants to call you out because one, like Julia Roberts, my wife, likes that you're infatuated with her, but also you're a black woman and everyone wants to walk on eggshells around you. But they never like actually talked about it, and it felt like we needed that cathartic moment, and maybe Nora Garrett or Luca just didn't feel like they were capable of having that conversation, or maybe that wasn't the intent behind the script. Either way, it felt like we were building up like this tension and it never got released. It just is like almost like at the end, it was like a little bit of air from the tension bubble, balloon or whatever we're using for this metaphor. Man, on the scale of popcorns, small, medium, large, excellent for the exceptional, or it goes to the stale popcorn pile, this gets a small, and that's barely, I think, like I said, Michael Stolberg, some of his scenes kind of helped me get through it. Chloe Sevigny, like her character was just crazy. She looked crazy. I don't know if that was intentional. I had a lot of questions about her character and what was going on with her hair. there were some things I just really didn't like about this movie. I hated the pacing. I hated some of the cinematography choices where like you're up in people's grills because you're supposed to see the POV from the other person. And yeah, it was just like they didn't even address like some of the privilege that some of these people had in thinking they could do the bold things that they did. You know, like it didn't like actually confront any of the things it was trying to put a spotlight on or challenge. And that's what made it a really, really frustrating watch. So yeah, small popcorn for After the Hunt. All right, let's get into some movie news, shall we? We got quite a bit of stuff to go through. I'm gonna share my screen so I can go through everything accordingly. Also, while I'm setting this up, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page so you get alerted about all future reviews, special bonus episodes, and celebrity interviews as well. And if you'd like to support the show, feel free to go to patreon.com/medium popcorn. Once again, that's patreon.com/medium popcorn. You get access to a bunch of exclusive YouTube content, as well as hundreds and hundreds of bonus hours of content, which include movie reviews, just live reads of scripts I've written, live reviews of movies, including films that Justin and I have both starred in. So you definitely want to take yourself over to Patreon at patreon.com/medium popcorn. All right, let's get into the movie news. So Deadline is reporting that Universal is bringing another rendition of Miami Vice with the acclaimed director, Top Gun Maverick, F1 director, Joseph Kosinski. It's going to come out August 6, 2027. We shall see. Miami Vice, I was kind of a fan of the Michael Mann, Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx version. I thought it was fun. The soundtrack fucking slapped. I mean, that trailer with the Linkin Park Jay-Z, Numb, that shit was that's a great trailer. That's a great trailer. Javier Bardem. Oh no. Am I thinking about Collateral? No, but Miami Vice is still good. Yeah. That had the one really popular actress at the time. Anyways, I just remember Colin Farrell's hair being great and Jamie Foxx and him had decent chemistry. I just think that Miami Vice took things way too seriously. So Joseph Kosinski, it's probably gonna be grounded, but at least I think it's gonna like depend on casting. And I think given his credentials and his ability to make a really dope action movie, which imagine seeing like speedboat chases through Miami, car chases, like he could have a lot of fun, especially after seeing what he did with Top Gun Maverick and F1. I mean, if he could do an incredible car chase scene from like the way he shot F1, that could be something really, really special, especially with the Miami backdrop. Yeah. And all he needs is a killer like cast. He needs two leads that can fucking rock this shit. So my mind immediately goes to like a Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler. Like imagine those two together, not saying there's not other actors that you can choose from. But think about Michael B. Jordan and not Joseph Kosinski. Well, yeah, he's directing, and then Austin Butler starring. That could be huge. That could be really big. And then you get like someone like, not saying you could get a Tom Cruise to be your villain, but like, let's say you do get Tom Cruise and or Brad Pitt in this shit, or Damson Idris. Like, there's so many things you could play with Miami Vice. And if you go younger, like, the Michael B. Jordan, Austin Butler route, you got a franchise that could last a long time. So at first I was skeptical when I put this deadline on the docket to talk about, but now I'm like, oh, actually, that's actually a no-brainer. So kudos to Universal for putting that together. Holy shit. That's going to be something special. All right. Star Wars Starfighter is given our first look, also on Deadline. The Sean Levy directed film that's going to star Ryan Gosling, I think Aaron Pierre, Matt Smith, Mia Goth, and Amy Adams is coming out. Script by Jonathan Troper, who did one of my favorite underrated shows of all time, Warrior, which is now I believe on Netflix. Definitely check it out. He also wrote some of my favorite fictional books, Here's Where I Leave You or something like that. It was adapted into a movie with Jason Bateman. But anyways, good writer. Sean Levy makes some fun movies. Ryan Gosling is dreamy as hell. Star Wars world, we'll see. We're gonna talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer in a little bit. I'm skeptical that this is gonna work. I'm hoping it will. I just haven't I got burns really bad on Rise of Skywalker or whatever the hell that ninth one was called, and Boba Fett. and then going through powering through freaking whatever Obi-Wan was. And I just like I got burned out on Star Wars. I really did. I haven't watched the third season of The Mandalorian. I haven't watched any of Andor, even though everyone tells me it's incredible. I didn't watch much of the Skeleton Crew. I know there's something else. Ahsoka, I didn't watch. Like, so I don't know. Like, I think this could be good. It's a great cast, good creative team. I just don't know if I believe in Star Wars anymore. Yeah. Put in the comments. Should I like watch Andor without revive my love of Star Wars? I didn't even watch the Acolyte. I didn't watch the Acolyte. And that shit looked awesome. Some of those lightsaber fights. I still was just like, I'll go watch this Apple TV show or I'll watch something like HBO Max. So put in the comments, should I watch these Star Wars shows? And if so, which one should I start with to renew my love of Star Wars? Is it Andor? Is it Ahsoka? Let me know in the comments what I should do. All right. Well, everyone, of course, knew that Warner Brothers was going to do was probably order some type of Weapons sequel or prequel. And Zach Cregger, the director of Weapons, has confirmed that there are more plans for Aunt Gladys, which if you haven't seen Weapons, I don't want to spoil who Aunt Gladys is, but it's a fucking cuckoo bananas character. He said that he's developing a Weapons prequel that will focus on the wickedly talented occult character, confirming reports that I followed was indeed in the works. It is real, and I've been talking to Warner Brothers about it. There's a story, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's not bullshit. So it'll probably take some time, and whether or not Jack Cregger will be, the writer or director. He's doing the Resident Evil movie right now, and he says he has another film over in mind on top of a DC script that he said that he wrote. So we'll see how much input he has on it, but it would be cool. Like, let's say he hands this off to like a James Wan, not wand like a magic, but he who did The Conjuring, and he did do Aquaman, but like still like he's done some really good effective horror films. That could be really cool. That could be fun to have like these two horror titans collaborating on something. That could be really special. So, or also Jordan Peele loved the script, did a bidding war at Universal for it, so it's possible Jordan Peele might be like, hey, let me direct something that actually I didn't write, and let's see what happens. That could be a lot of fun as well. Oh my god, you get Chelsea Peretti, his wife, to play Aunt Gladys. That could be interesting. That could be really interesting. All right, but I'm excited for a Weapons prequel because man, that movie's third act is nutso. All right. Some superhero news coming up. We got Daredevil Born Again has been officially renewed for season 3, which begins shooting next year, according to comicbookmovie.com. Of course, the second season is already in production. I haven't even watched the first season. I'm like, I don't know what it is with me and Disney Plus. I'm barely on that app. Out of all the streaming apps I would say Disney Plus is like the least used, and the right after that is Netflix. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with my relationship with those streamers, but yeah, like I haven't watched. Besides the first episode of the Daredevil reboot, I haven't watched anything else from that series. I'm excited, like especially probably I'll wait till the Punisher special is right about to come out, and then I'll probably just binge the whole show, go right into that, and then at least I'll be satiated for a little bit until like Spider-Man comes out that has the Punisher in it. But this is exciting though. Like Daredevil Born Again's coming back for season 3. That means they're very confident what they're working on right now in season 2. That means that Wilson Fisk is going to be around for a while, hopefully, or at least we have some opportunities to see Daredevil interact with more characters in the MCU, which is always good. And I've heard nothing but good things about Daredevil Born Again. So I'm excited to watch that. I just, I get pulled in so many different directions as a critic and which as a freelancer and stuff like that. So I always feel like frustrated when I can't see everything I want to see, but I'm hoping that I'll eventually get to Daredevil Born Again so I can ramp up and get more excited for the fact that it's getting a season 3 now, which means there's many, many years of Daredevil to come in the MCU. All right. Next up, we have Matt Reeves. Also, the story comes from comicbookmovie.com. Matt Reeves says the Batman 2 is a Bruce Wayne story and will feature a villain that's never really been done before. Right. So Reeves said that the villain is one that's never really been done in a movie before. Well, it's funny because I had a lot of ideas that Mattson Tomlin, who was the co-writer, we began the process of doing this by doing another deep dive into the comics and exploring ideas that I've had, and he gave me some of the ideas he had. We sat together and watched a lot of movies, honestly. Not all movies are from the realm of Gotham. just to explore with the story. I knew what the way the Batman ended, it was leaving us on a precipice. Also, the way events happened, the Penguin, which is incredible, by the way. Finally finished the Penguin. Holy smokes. I understand why Colin Farrell lost, though. Stephen Grant was incredible in Adolescent. But Christina, who plays Falcone, Jesus Christ. And she made Scary look sexy. That was insane. Um, but there's an exploration to be had. And one of the explorations for me was to do something that pushes even further into the character of Bruce Wayne. The first story is so much about the Batman. I always want in the movies, and let's say we get to 3, I have no idea. I've always wanted the movies to focus on his character. A lot of the other films, which I love, once you get past the origins tale, they start telling the Rogues Gallery story and the characters arc. I never want to lose Rob at the center of these stories. So that's what we really set out our aim on, picking the right villain that digs into what that does and goes into his past and his life. This is what drove that discussion. We're super excited about it. And I will say it's never really been done in a movie before. Okay. So on the podcast, and it says in this article as well, like other people have a theory about Hush, which is an incredible comic run for Batman, incredible comic villain, really hints at a lot of Bruce Wayne's past, which they hinted at a lot in the first Batman movie. The Penguin also like really hones in on corruption in Gotham, things like that. And if that's a running theme, my friend and co-host Justin Brown, we consider like, well, Hush is a perfect villain. And then it works because you can bring in the Rogues Gallery, because if you're familiar with that comic book art, Hush does a lot of crazy shit that basically pits all of Batman's enemies against him at the same time. It's like incredibly overwhelming for Batman. He's like, how does this person know how I'm thinking and how I'm trying to navigate all these villains coming at me? And like you learn that there's this big connection with this villain called Hush. I don't want to spoil it if you don't know what it's about. It's incredibly exciting. It's like it's a really cool storyline, and it fits right in what Matt Reeves is creating in this world. Their other idea, and this could still happen maybe in the third one, is Court of Owls, which I think they're building up for a third one, because that's going to be like all action oriented, and also creepy as hell, because it's going to go to the deepest level of corruption in Gotham, while also showing all these like physical threats to Bruce Wayne and Batman, which would be incredible storytelling. The way that Matt Reeves just created the world in the Batman, it fits aesthetically like in an amazing way. Now, alternative to Hush, or it could be in the same story, is Doctor Strange, Hugo Strange. He was kind of like, I kind of thought it might be the dude from the Penguin, but I guess we're not going that direction. Or he could reveal that his name is Hugo or something like that in the Batman 2. But Doctor Strange is also an element, because if Bruce Wayne, it's going to focus on Bruce Wayne, maybe he has like a psychotic break, and you have Doctor Strange treating him or something like that. And he ends up in Arkham. That could be a thing too, where he ends up in Arkham, Bruce Wayne, and he has to turn into Batman and fight his way out. I don't know. I'm excited about what Matt Reeves is doing with the Batman too. It took him a long time, and that makes me feel like he's got a story to tell. I know from what I've heard, he had some like personal, maybe health issues or something like that delayed the production start. But I think he's got some really, really special and something we've never seen before as Batman films. So I'm excited to see what happens in the Batman Part 2. Are you? Post in the comments. Post in the comments if you're excited about it. All right. That's just a Hollywood Reporter headline. So this is fresh off the presses for today. Beyond the Spider-Verse jumps forward to Father's Day weekend 2027. So we're bumping up a week, which is good. Initially it was supposed to be June 25th, 2027. Now it's coming up to June 18th, 2027. However, this is still almost 2 years from now. Like, guys, you're killing me. You left us on a huge, huge cliffhanger. It's going to be like 5+ years, isn't it? Didn't the last one come out? It's going to be 4 years. 4 years, because it was 2023, I believe, when Across the Spider-Verse came out, which is in my top 5 films of all time. I love that movie. It's incredible. Yeah, God dang it, guys. I thought you'd be like 2026, surprise. But alas, Brandon doesn't get what he wants. All right. Jimmy Kimmel Live, unless you've been living under a rock the past few days as of this recording. Jimmy Kimmel, last night, he returned after a suspension. We'll call it that. And he drew record ratings in his return from suspension. More than 6 million viewers tuned into his late night return, not including streamers and things like that. And this is with being blocked out by 23% of the country's TV homes because of ABC affiliates, Nexstar, and Sinclair. Fuck those guys who didn't want to air it. And so apparently now there's active conversations with one or maybe both of those affiliates now, because I'm sure they saw the ratings and the online activity. I mean, when I watched this monologue, it was at 15 something million views earlier today. So I can't imagine what the number is now, but kudos to Jimmy Kimmel for powering through, coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like whenever his contract is up, if that's it, if he's not going to renew on his end. He just doesn't want to like deal with this anymore. But he, I know there's some controversy back in the day about like him doing like a blackface joke and stuff like that. And yeah, it's not great. Not important. It's definitely important taste. But I will say, like, I've always felt has a genuine heart. Like when he's speaking on the microphone, I really buy. Like it could be all bullshit, but I really do buy. Like when he talked about his son and healthcare system and stuff like that during one of his monologues, he got very emotional. I felt that, man. When he's had to deal with some crazy stuff at the Oscars, I've been incredibly entertained by that. So, yeah, I think Jimmy Kimmel is he's one of the better late night hosts and just overall like network affiliates talents. I think that it's really awesome that he was able to come back, and a lot of people didn't lose their jobs, especially in such short notice. And I think that it's cool that he gave a really good, monologue. I don't want to call it speech, but he gave a really good monologue that was very balanced and also didn't back down, though. It's like very much reminding people like free speech is in trouble. Like, guys, come on. It's getting crazy out here. And like, W. Kamau Bell said it the other day where he was like, they're coming after rich white guys. Like, what does that say about the rest of us? And so I'm glad that these rich white guys stood up and Bob Iger actually did the right thing for once. Yeah, I'm really coming at Disney today. I didn't mean to do that. Please don't stop inviting me to screenings because, folks, if you don't know this, sometimes studios retaliate against us if we say negative stuff. They get mad at us. Yeah, please don't get mad at us. Bob Iger just had to do the right thing, man. Just had to do the right thing. All right, let's talk about a few quick movie trailers, and then we're gonna get out of here. So we're gonna watch this together, and then I'm gonna commentate. I might say some stuff here and there during the trailer, things like that. But then I'll give my quick take, and then we'll get out of here. How's that sound? Good. I don't know. I can't hear you.
And 5, 4, 3.
Why did they
2.
do the countdown?
You don't say the last. It's okay.
Are people that impatient?
Anaconda. I don't want to wait, man.
Doug, what are you talking about?
Let's do it.
Paul Rudd looks amazing.
Let's reboot Anaconda.
Yes.
That's insane.
Wait.
What?
This is going to be the adventure of a lifetime. We've dreamed of making this movie ever since we were kids.
What does it cost to get this thing made?
$2.5 million.
We've approved a loan for up to $9,400.
Yes.
We're going to shoot it indie style. Run and gun.
We need a
Love them
riverboat,
Righteous
a
Gemstones.
script, a snake handler, and a real snake.
Claire, you and I will star in it.
I love you, Derek.
Kenny, you shoot it.
Here we go.
Doug, you direct.
Action! Put your face right up next to the snake.
Oh, shit.
Maybe it'll be okay.
Coding.
What is going on?
This is
Such a weird plot.
Anaconda. And we no longer have a snake for our snake movie. We have to go out in the jungle and find another one.
What is that?
Oh my.
We're in the middle of the jungle and we are being hunted. Now we die. It's okay, you're safe, I'm here. Holy,
I hope the snake looks better in the final edit.
keep rolling.
He's dead.
Oh no. What are we gonna do?
What if we use Doug as bait to get back to the
Snake
boat?
threw a bone.
That's a really smart idea.
Doug would have wanted this.
I'm not sure he would have wanted this.
Look at the snake.
He's alive. I thought you checked his balls. He did. Doug! He's right behind you! What the hell is over there? It's a long story! Run!
What the fuck? I don't know what I just watched. That was insane. That's completely insane. I'm gonna see it, but I can't get mad at myself if it's not good. That was crazy. And Jack Black is he's just becoming maniacal. He's just a mad, insane person on screen now. He just embraced that character, I guess. All right. I mean, to be fair, he's been playing that for over 20 years. You know, have y'all seen what was it? The Record Store with John Cusack. It was an awesome TV show as well. Anyways, I'm sure you'll yell at me in the comments and be like, Brandon, it was this show and this movie. All right.
So there's been some developments.
Watch the rip.
We have a few more questions.
Ben Affleck and Matt
Last
Damon.
time we spoke, you described the job as follows. Your unit works the dope game. Drugs, guns.
Knock, knock, Miami PD.
How you doing this evening?
5 cops just magically appeared on my doorstep. I've been better.
You mind if we come inside?
It's Supergirl from the terrible Flash.
But the majority of your work consisted of cash seizures.
I don't have any drugs.
The dog's not trained to detect drugs. The dog's trained to detect money.
How much was the tip that came in?
300 grand. That's a $20 million rip. It'd be so much easier if we just stole this money. I swear to God.
Oh, shit.
You should just take whatever money you want and walk away before this goes really bad for all of us.
No one needs to die tonight. You have 30 minutes to get out of that house.
What we do right now and who we talk to matters. The longer we stick around here, the dicier this shit's gonna be.
Tell me what's fucking going on.
You think I want to jack this rip?
I don't trust you right now, and that's a fucking problem.
Any ideas?
Who might want this money?
$20 million.
Kyle Chandler?
AWTGG. What does it mean?
Are we the good guys?
Bars. White guys, when you go to bars with your friends, you should ask yourselves, are we the good guys? That looks intense. That looks great. The guy who played who directed that movie with Ray Liotta and J.C. Patrick, I think it was called Cop or something like that. Narc, Joe Cataran, I think, or something like that. He directed this, so it's gonna be a good action, crime thriller. I'm digging it, and also Matt and Ben, they got undeniable chemistry. Tiana Taylor's hot ass is in this. Yeah, I'm gonna see it. Stephen Yeun, a bunch of Oscar-nominated actors are in this. Come on now, gotta watch it. All right, so now we're gonna check out The Housemaid, which is with Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. All right, let's see what this is about.
Hi, Millie. Hi, Mrs. Winchester. Oh, please call me Nina. Come on in. So why do you want this job?
I just really enjoy being a housemaid. For the right families, of course.
You know this is a live-in position, right? Ta-da! This is your room. What do you think?
It's perfect.
Okay, good.
I have good judgment.
So, would you like the grand tour?
I know I have good taste.
See what you're getting yourself into? The job is mostly cleaning, organizing, some light cooking.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Hello?
Millie's gonna be living with us.
She's gonna live with us.
Andrew, I told you that. She'd be part of the family. I want you to feel safe here.
I do.
Theodore.
December 19th, isn't it?
You're a lifesaver. I don't know what I'd do without you, Millie.
Whatever there goes inside you, whatever there goes inside you, don't let him out tonight.
I need this job. I can't lose it. I do not want to go back.
all I'm asking, baby. Don't prove I'm right. Don't bring me to tears when I just did my makeup so nice.
I have a really good feeling about this, Millie.
Me too.
Okay, I'll be in touch.
Don't prove I'm right. Don't prove I'm right.
It's another evil white woman destroying someone alive story. Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. That could be interesting. It's funny because Sydney Sweeney, I thought, was attached to a film that actually was based off a short story I read. That actually my mentor at Universal told me to read. And she was like a housemaid, but like she had to follow the rules on this weird tape. It was very creepy and like actually a really cool story. I don't know if that's still in production or whatever, or she's attached, but when I saw that she was casting this, I was like, oh, it sounds like the log line kind of sounded similar. But now I'm watching, I'm like, oh no, she's good. She could do both of them, but it just might be like, are you being typecast as like a housemaid? What's going on, Sydney Sweeney? Like, come on. All right, so let's watch Springsteen Deliver Me from Nowhere. That stars Jeremy Allen White and I believe Jason Strong. Jeremy Strong.
Personalized for you.
Commercial. Sorry, don't have YouTube Premium.
It's a hard thing. Realizing people aren't who you want them to be. It feels different coming home. There's a real emptiness.
I think Bruce is afraid of what's coming, and he feels guilty leaving behind the world he knows.
So dramatic.
It's like I'm always running away from something. Like the past is breathing down my neck.
I don't have to tell you. We got to hit it out of the park with the next record. Bruce Springsteen's on a rocket ship. We don't want to miss that window.
The label, once you have your first top 10, they're just thinking about momentum.
I'm trying to find something real. These new songs, they're different, but they're the only thing making sense to me right now. The only thing I can still believe in.
Then we'll get it. Whatever it takes.
Well, they blew up the chicken man in Philly last night. Now they blew up his house too.
This is a highly unorthodox career move.
That's the point. He's channeling something deeply personal. But in this office, my office, we believe in Bruce Springsteen.
Everything dies, honey, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday.
Songwriting's a funny thing. And it's about searching for something. Something that's gonna give your life a little bit of meaning.
This is where you're meant to go.
Don't need to be perfect. I just want it to feel right.
Maybe everything that dies someday comes back.
I mean, I'm gonna see it for sure. Looks like most biopics, but Jeremy Allen White, man, I've been a fan of his since Shameless. A lot of people jumped on, the Jeremy Allen fan train with The Bear, but I've been a huge fan of his since the first season of that Shameless when he plays Liv Gallagher. He's amazing on that show. Haven't really watched much of his other stuff. Like I know he did a Amazon show, like a few like independent horror films. I thought he was great in Iron Claw. I thought everybody in Iron Claw was really good and underrated. Man, Zac Efron did his fucking thing, and he got no love from the awards seasons. But it is what it is. But I'm sure this probably, if it's unless it's a disaster, they'll probably get a few nominations, including for Jeremy Allen White, just because he's so popular right now. All right, let's check out the trailer for The Bride. Which, full disclosure, y'all, I did a lot of background on this. I might, you might see my face at one point. So let's check out what the trailer shows, because I had no idea what was going on when we were filming this. There's some crazy shit happening. on set. But I did get to be really close to Jesse Buckley and Christian Bale, which is cool. And of course, Maggie Gyllenhaal, the director. So yeah, let's watch this trailer together.
Was I just the same before the accident?
God damn.
It wasn't any accident. Everything we did it on purpose. There's nothing left to do now but live.
Come on, big man. You don't want to play?
Until death do us part.
What? Are they like bank robbers or something?
What's my name? I can't remember.
Monstrous.
It's got a great cast, but that could also have just been Maggie Gyllenhaal calling her a bunch of favors. She did write and direct this, so we'll see. I mean, her last movie got I think some awards love, so we'll see. On set, I had no idea what was going on. Like I said, I was just like, I'm just doing what you want me to do. It's fine. And Christian Bale is tall ass. The makeup looked really cool in person. I have no idea what this movie is about though, and I've heard rumors that it might be a musical, which I definitely didn't get when I was on set the few days. But yeah, I'm curious to see more and see also why this movie and why now. I think it's going to be a really important question during the press run. Like, what does this movie stand for? What's the purpose of it? Just curious to see what Maggie Gyllenhaal has to say about that. All right, we got 2 more trailers. Let's check out The Mandalorian and Grogu. Grogu's so cute.
Impressive.
Baby.
Didn't that just feel like a really long episode? Right? Like, I don't know. That's the first Star Wars movie we're getting post the sequel trilogy, which ended disastrously. And I've heard mixed things about The Mandalorian season 3. So I'm wondering, like, is that exciting people, what we just saw? I don't know. I wasn't very excited. That Grogu looks cute. I love that character, but I don't know if it warrants a movie. It feels kind of like when people were people weren't even asking for this. They were asking for an original Star Wars movie or something like that, right? There's been so many other things in Star Wars development. They put this out first, right? It just feels like a long TV episode. Yeah, and it just that was very lackluster. And I'm not trying to be hard on Disney today. I promise. I was like, that's okay. That was a thing that we saw. I guess I'll see the movie. Probably that means I have to watch season 3 of Mandalorian now, right? Yeah, we'll see. All right, last trailer, Wicked for Good.
Couldn't be happier.
It's more important than ever that you lift everyone's spirits. As only you can.
Does that do what I think it does?
No. No way.
I'm obsessulated.
Shout out to Michelle Yeoh.
The wand really sells it.
Because happy is what happens.
Linda, the good.
When all your dreams come true.
It's the Wicked Witch.
You can wave that wand all you want, but you have no real power.
Tell it. That song,
I'm a public figure now. People expect me to
lie.
Be encouraging.
You can't resist this.
Who could?
You know who could.
There's a house, and it's flying through the sky. I'm off to see the wizard.
Bring me the room of the Wicked Witch of the West. So I have proof that she's dead.
Stop this. It's gone too far. Elphaba, they're coming for you. Just look at me.
Not with your eyes, with theirs.
I've heard it said that people
She used to do that before, right? Before she became nice.
For a reason.
Here's the plan. I have no plan.
Well, I do.
Oh, thank God.
Haven't you heard? I'm the Wicked Witch of the West.
The comet pulls the morning as it passes the sun. Like a seed dropped by a skybird in the distance.
This is the work of the Wicked Witch.
Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you.
What have you done to me?
Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed.
Think of what we could do together.
For good.
That looks good. I'm excited for that. I didn't think I would like Wicked, and then I saw Wicked Part 1, and I was floored by it. I got goosebumps watching it, like hearing Cynthia Erivo sing. Like, man, I'm really looking forward to the closing chapter of that. All right, folks. I hope you all have been enjoying this bonus episode with some movie reviews, movie news, trailer reactions. And we're going to close out with an interview with my friend and executive producer of the Are We Good documentary film about groundbreaking podcaster Marc Maron. It's going to be in theaters on October 3rd in New York and LA. So look out for those screenings. And it talks about, Marc Maron's loss of the sudden loss of his partner, Lynn Shelton. Talks about, doing comedy through COVID. And also, it's important to note that this documentary was made before he made the announcement about ending his podcast. But if you pay attention to the documentary, you can kind of see hints of him being like, I've kind of done everything I could out of this. You know what I mean? So definitely enjoy this interview with Julie Seabaugh. So, having said that, I know like when we connected when I was in LA, about 2 years ago or something like that, I met with you at the Comedy Store because you were going to check out Mark's set.
Oh.
And so
yeah.
Was the project already in development at that point? Was it locked in? Like what? Where
Oh
were you?
gosh. Yeah. The project started in, well, technically the idea came in 2020.
Okay.
Um, so we're still in pandemic here. Oh wait, let me hit my permission to record. Yes, we're recording. Yeah, so ultimately took 4 years total, which is good, which is a year down from my first movie, Too Soon, Comedy After 9/11, which took 5 years. So we're getting there. We're dialing in. Yeah, I was just kind of always, I've been a massive fan of him forever. He's a totally unique voice, for better and worse.
Yep.
Had always, I interviewed him 5 times for different journalism projects. And whenever COVID hit, he had started doing the Instagram live videos where, you're seeing him and his girlfriend, Lynn, kind of getting locked up and settling down, and they're cooking healthy food and just kind of dealing with it in real time, as we all were. And about 2 months in, Lynn passed away unexpectedly. It was ultimately an undiagnosed leukemia, but he didn't know that at the point. It was just kind of suddenly she died and didn't know why. And he kept doing Instagram lives, and it was just the most raw, beautiful, insane stuff I'd ever seen from a comedian in my life. Just knew, and he was talking about how he's going to quit comedy and he's moving to Canada and all this stuff. We all said a lot of things during pandemic. And I knew, having sort of a fan parasocial relationship with him, as we all do with our favorite comedians, like, he's not going to quit. There's no way. This is a guy who needs stand up. He needs to connect on stage. And I knew he was going to be back, and I knew that the next material out of him was going to be insane. Just the best stuff he'd ever done. He's always been super raw, super intense. This was going to be no exception. And I approached Steve Feinart, director known for stand-up specials. He also had an Eddie Pepitone documentary. And so he kind of knew Maron from Maron being in the Pepitone documentary. I knew him from journalism. Kind of came together, and production started in May 21, a week after the Comedy Store reopened. I made Steve show up with a camera to the store, and I talked us in, and I said, we're doing a documentary now. And Maron kind of had to deal with it.
That was going to be one of my next questions, which is how many times did he quit throughout the production?
Well, he never yelled at me. He never made me cry.
Okay.
I can't. The same is not true for fine arts. But yeah, it was basically a process of following him for those. It was the better part of 3 years, as he was starting to get back on stage, putting material together, and just kind of following him as he found ways to talk about this grief and, how he'd been changed as a person and what he was going to do with all of this now. Maron is someone who, he can be a prickly sort of personality. He lays it all out there, but he's also hard on himself. He's hard on the world. There's just no filter. And we were capturing that for the better part of 3 years. So that was probably one of those nights when I just kind of check in. Hey, how's the act? How's this forming? Just that kind of thing. Yeah, I definitely feel like I know him better at this point. We've also kind of bonded over our fathers having dementia, certain things. And
I connected with that a lot in the documentary, just because my grandfather is going through ES dementia. And it's a very brutal disease.
Yeah. So you did get to see it. Good.
Yeah.
It's funny, it's brutal, it's raw. There's no holds barred. You know, we revisit a lot of his past life, the person he has been, both personally and professionally. His father played a large role in that. You know, he initially tried to be funny to make his depressed father laugh in a way that no one else could get him to do. And you kind of see it come full circle at the end, where he's now kind of taking care of his father, and he's now the adult, and he kind of realizes a lot of, you know, he is his father's son in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's just been a fascinating deep dive that I think people will get a lot out of. You know, Maron gives voice to a lot of things in a lot of ways that a lot of other comedians don't. And anyone who's a fan or even not, you know, I'm always someone who looks for the path of turning tragedy into comedy in my work. I love the dark stuff. I think it's very vital to our world, especially now more than ever.
100%.
And this is just kind of a prime example of someone who does it better than most.
What do you think the documentary does in regards to giving, you know, incredibly intimate portrait of Mark that you wouldn't get from listening to his podcast, which he's very, you know, he wears his heart on his sleeve?
I actually got an email from him when we were really finishing up like more of a rough cut a few months ago. And he had said in it that he learned about himself through watching this documentary. You know, we have our own perceptions of who we are and how we want to be perceived in the world. You know, you can only control that so much. And I think really kind of holding the mirror up to him kind of gave him some insight. Like he doesn't really think he's that successful in stand-up comedy. And you have to say, you're pretty successful, man. You're hugely inspirational. You do theaters. People, you know, he is highly influential in so many ways, which I don't think he realized. Yes. It's fascinating, but also kind of tracing his life path too. You know, therapy is kind of a more recent thing for him. He's also learning more about some, you know, mental illnesses, possibly, exploring that sort of thing. So yeah, it was definitely like, this is the story I would tell about you if I, you know. So he kind of, yeah, just kind of figured out like, okay, this is actually like a good time to record me in my life, going through a lot of changes and trying to figure out like what's next, which again is kind of universal for all of us 100%. Right now.
Now, in the documentary, you have quite a few, you know, well-known comedians and associates of Mark in the entertainment business and the comedy world who talk about Mark, whether it's, you know, knowing him back in the 80s when they were grinding in the clubs, or to his podcast and beyond, just Mark's career as an actor, right? Was there anyone that you weren't able to include in the documentary for time's sake that maybe said something really insightful or funny about Mark?
Yeah, there was definitely a couple people who did get cut. I mean, I'm shout out to like Doug Benson, Tom Rhodes, our apologies. A couple of people like that, but it was also kind of finding, like you said, those strategic people who would talk about him from specific time periods. Yep. The 80s, you know, David Cross in the alternative scene in New York. That was a time.
I didn't recognize him in that photo initially. I'm not taking any shots at David Cross, but like he looks so different in that headshot that y'all showed.
We're all maturing.
Yes.
But then like to Michaela Watkins, who, you know, saw Mark and Lynn's personal relationship up close and had tremendous insight I wasn't even expecting about, you know, what would it be like to date Martin Maron? Well, it's difficult. But also, you know, she talked about, again, you know, one of the major themes is he going to be kind of the same person? Is he going to let this hugely traumatic death and loss in his life kind of take him out, you know, in a lot of ways? That he kind of finally found his person and he was happy and he was set, and this is how life is going to be from now on. And again, like right before pandemic, he'd had Glow was the series on Netflix, and
R.I.P.
The Joker movie, and Lynn had directed In Time's Fun, which was released right as pandemic hit, very prophetic in a lot of ways. And it was all kind of set up for him to be like, finally happy. And it did not turn out to be the case. So can he take what, she taught him about love and compassion and how to believe in himself and continue carrying that on? So we did definitely look for a lot of people who had the deep insight into all of those different realms. We had a much larger list originally, but a lot of them he said, no.
Well, that's something I've grown to admire about Marc Maron between reading his book, obviously listening to his podcast, and then watching this documentary, is that, he speaks his mind. He speaks the uncomfortable truths that, we sometimes refrain from saying out loud because we don't, politics, or we don't want to ruffle any feathers and things like that. And so he's very direct in how he feels about, certain people, certain ideologies, especially in the comedy community these days. And I remember listening to one of his podcasts where I had a friend on who was incredibly excited about being on Marc Maron, by the way. And at the beginning in his intro, a memory of Lynn came up, and you heard him get choked up. And I remember being like, this is so real and raw. I've never heard this on a podcast before, but I'm also now in a very deep emotional state because I can't imagine losing my partner, especially suddenly without explanation, right? And I remember that feeling so bad for my friend who was on that episode, because I'm like, I don't know how many people are going to get to the interview, man. I think that one's pretty rough, but that's the beauty in what Marc does. And, I appreciate that he's honest about, sometimes it's not going to work out, and I'm angry and frustrated about that. Like when he gets the Grammy nomination news and he's now on the list, he's like to his dad, I don't think it's going to happen, Dad. And it's such a great moment to capture that, because you see the dad sort of understanding what's kind of going on, but probably not really. Yeah. And Marc still being open and vulnerable about that. And so, I think what Marc does really brilliantly, and it's shown in this documentary, is he takes loss and really reflects on it and really like explores like how that's making him feel and how he, like you say, he's going to continue to navigate this world and communicate through it and process it. And that's something you don't see a lot of, not even just comedians, but people doing these days, that introspective.
And he's a very id kind of comedian. He's someone who, he always says he writes on stage, which is fascinating to someone who's a stand-up comedy fan. You think of comedians slaving over their notebooks and what am I trying to get across? And he kind of operates more on, the feel and connecting with the crowd in a lot of ways. Like he is someone who, despite what he might say, like really needs that crowd to feel human. And yeah, even his first podcast after Lynn died, when it was, an episode dedicated entirely to remembering her. Well, obviously crying the whole time, but also working through it in front of an audience. Yeah. That's his process. And to just kind of see some of the really dark but brilliant stand-up that he's creating in real time during this documentary. You see it, something triggers him when he sees, the suitcase of hers or her notebooks, and then he goes on stage that night and talks about it. I mean, that's pure stand-up for sure. And just the process of like, this is going to be a special that's about grief. And so it still needs to be funny, but just how does art like function in that way, especially stand-up, which I think is the most important art form there is.
Well, that's why I did appreciate the quick nod to Gary Goldman. You had a quick cut to the interview with him, because Gary Goldman's kind of done his own unique thing with the like comedy specials in the format there. And so I appreciate kind of like highlighting other comedians and artists that are doing something similar with the way they approach comedy and performance.
Yeah, I loved Goldman's Great Depression special / kind of pseudo documentary. It was presented as more of a special, but Yeah, so much context and background to how, like, again, this is what I love about stand-up the most. It's not necessarily in my mind about the finished product of jokes, and these are all going to be my special. It's more about that process. What happened in your life? What is the context in which this material was created? Like, that's the most humanizing thing I think there is in the world, and it's just so good for helping the rest of us kind of relieve that same anxiety. Like, I'm not going to get on stage. There's no way. I never, but I'll talk about stand-up comedy all day long because I really value what it can do for the rest of us psychologically, and just really revealing, like, we're not alone in any of this.
Yeah.
We can laugh about it, and it can be overcome. And it's not pretty. It's messy. It's brutal. But, like, stand-up reflects life in a way that I really do think no other art form can, is that immediacy, for sure.
So why do you think that Mark trusted you to be able to, like, cover this and tell his story in an authentic way that,
Yeah. I've been a professional journalist for 22 years now. Right out of Mizzou School of Journalism, immediately moved to New York. In hindsight, that was dumb and naive, but following your passions. I was writing first, and I knew I wanted to do something in that arena. And then at Mizzou is when Dave Attell came and did a show, and I realized, oh, I'm supposed to write about stand-up comedy. So I definitely threw myself into that pretty hardcore for the past 22 years. But yeah, I've covered for New York Times, LA Times, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Rolling Stone, all that. 5 different times I've interviewed Maron for different pieces. I saw him at the Comedy Store, obviously. I approached him for my documentary Too Soon, Comedy After 9/11 with Nick Scown. He was fantastic in that, definitely a linchpin. So I kind of knew that turning it to something on him on a very intimate verite level was something that he wasn't going to let just anyone do. But I guess I don't know, I've always been pretty fiercely independent in my work. I don't let anyone tell me what to do. I don't really have bosses. And this is just another way, especially as journalism continues a bit of a free fall. That's a whole other topic altogether. Modern journalism. It's still telling stories about comedy in just a different format. So it did take a little. There was a couple Zoom calls first in which he was totally non-committal. And then we just showed up at the Comedy Store. Like, this is happening, deal with it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why he continued, but he is someone who really, again, he's very open and honest. And I guess if you can convince him that there's not going to be a spin on it, it's going to be him in all the best ways and just really highlighting, like, what's so beautiful about his work. Yeah, he didn't see a lot of footage during it. He definitely got annoyed and yelled, and again, I wasn't the object of the yelling, but you kind of have to know that going in. That's part of. So he knew that we knew how to act with him, which a lot of people don't. You do have to take a little bit of shit, but it's very ultimately finally worth it for sure.
Makes sense. My last question for you, Julie, is what is next? What's the next project after Are We Good?
Yeah, I do have, there's a book with Byron Bowers that's going to come out.
Okay, shout out to Byron.
Byron Bowers' memoir. He's, again, one of those stand-up artists who is fucking fascinating. his life is, you know, grew up in poverty in Athens, Georgia. Parents were never married. Dad's schizophrenic. He was molested by the babysitter. He sold crack in college. He was also the first person in his family to graduate college. And that's all taking us up to like almost the end of the book before he even moves to LA in the first place. And when you know all that stuff about a person and then you see it reflected in their stand-up, like those are the stories that I want to tell. So that book with Grand Central Publishing out next summer. And I'm also working with director Jeff Siegel and DP Michael Blyden. We have that's another one it's 5 years now, have been putting together the long-awaited definitive Mitch Hedberg documentary.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people have tried to do different Hedberg projects over the years, myself included in different incarnations. Finally I did a Sirius XM special on him in 2020, and that's how Jeff Siegel approached me. I thought I was the biggest Mitch Hedberg fan that ever existed until he got in touch with me. And he's not a person who's in the comedy world. He's in the film world. He's made tons of great stuff. You know, Netflix, you know, the Art Heist documentary, done tons of stuff with Billy Joel, Emmys, all that stuff. But he came in as like, so here's everything I know about Mitch Hedberg. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're giving me a run for my money. So it was kind of a perfect partnering. And we started from the ground floor up with his core family and friends in St. Paul. And eventually bring in the comedians and everyone else. But yeah, it's kind of the not proper way to make a documentary. But in this case, where there's so much chaos kind of around his legacy and trying to get stuff out about him, this was definitely the only way to do it for sure. Just piecemeal, labor of love, call in all the favors. And it's a very... the stories that no one knows about him are going to be mind-blowing, and just also seeing like his influence on other comedians and how they remember him. There's a lot of crying in this documentary for sure. And this is the first time, you know, he died in 2005, so it's 20 years this year, and this is the first time that a lot of people have been able to really talk about him. No one's ever really talked to his family. Like, why would that be? And so everyone's kind of finally getting it out in this one definitive project that, TBA next year.
Okay. Well,
Major labor of love.
Definitely looking forward to that. Julie, this has been a pleasure. It's been great just catching up with you. Please tell listeners how they can keep up with you, and also keep an eye out for Are We Good?
Yeah, mostly just Instagram these days, although I swear I'm going to start a Substack. I'll do it. I'll get around to it. Yeah, just Julie Siegel on Instagram. Also, Are We Good has the Instagram. It'll be at Tribeca, making its East Coast premiere June 14th, which is fascinating because I used to make popcorn at the Tribeca Film Festival.
Wow.
When I first moved to New York from Mizzou, because I'd worked in a movie theater all through college and I knew how to make popcorn. So now, 22 some years later, I'm making a triumphant return, and I'll probably get some popcorn at some point.
Nice. Well, congratulations, Julie.
Thanks. It was good to catch up for sure.
All right, folks. Hope you all enjoyed the interview. Definitely check out Are We Good? Again, that's in theaters October 3rd in New York and LA at a movie theater near you. And as always, please follow us on youtube.com/mediapopcorn. If you're already watching this on YouTube, press that subscribe button. But if you're listening to this on your phone, go to the YouTube app, youtube.com, and search for Media Popcorn, or put youtube.com/Media Popcorn, press that subscribe button so you get alert about all future reviews, celebrity interviews, and just, bonus episodes like this. And it's in your feed. Additionally, if you want to support the show, please take yourself over to patreon.com/Media Popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, $50 tiers. All that helps out the show. And if you don't want to make a monthly commitment to us, we do have a website called ko-fi.com/mediumpopcorn, where you can donate a one-time donation in the equivalent of a small coffee or a medium popcorn. Anything helps the show. So again, that's ko-fi.com/medium popcorn, or you can go to patreon.com/medium popcorn. Either option supports the show. Tell your friends about the show. We thank you so much. As always, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads. Come out to my shows, FrodoBlackens.com. I'm all over the place, especially in October. I got Drum Black History in New Orleans, Baltimore, Brooklyn, and then I got What the Film at the beginning of October. So check out all that stuff out at FrodoBlackens.com. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, y'all. Talk to you soon. Peace.